Recently, a friend of mine asked me what he should buy as his first multi-tool, and it really got me thinking about all the people that don't carry anything at all, but could benefit from something small and light. I bet most people don't want to spend a lot or weigh down their pockets, so I set a goal of around $40 and 1.5 ounces or 45 grams for the essentials: knife, scissors, flat and Phillips screwdriver, and ideally some tweezers. That's 1/3 the weight and cost of my ultralight pocket toolkit, and something anyone would be comfortable carrying because you can't feel it in your pocket. A small keychain multi-tool is definitely the way to go, so I bought everything that looked good and tested them to see which was best. Leatherman has a few small multi-tools I really like. The Squirt PS4 manages to pack a knife, file, pliers, scissors, bottle opener, flathead, and 2D Phillips in a 56 gram or 2 ounce package. But they discontinued it. I also have the Leatherman Style PS that is like a baby scale tool with pliers, scissors, file, bottle opener, carabiner, and tweezers. Since it lacks a knife, it's Europe and TSA friendly and light at 45 grams or 1.5 ounces. But they discontinued it. In fact, Leatherman has sold tons of cool keychain tools over the years, but they're all discontinued. Except the Micra. I didn't own one, and I was pretty surprised that they're asking $50 for a keychain tool, so I picked up a used one on eBay for $30. It is a large set of scissors, but honestly, they're not that great. A decent sized knife, an interesting set of attached tweezers, a nice Phillips and flathead driver, in a 51 gram or 1.8 ounce package. Problem is, none of the tools are accessible on the outside because it's an old school Leatherman design from 1996. You need to open it, find the tool, then close it each time, and that gets super annoying. I'd pass on the Micra, so Leatherman is out of the running. The Gerber Dime is the right size and has a good selection of tools, including a blade, scissors, package opener, and pliers for less than $30. Overall, I found the quality wasn't great, and there's lots of reports of it breaking easily. The pliers aren't super useful, and they add bulk that bumps up the weight to 62 grams or 2.2 ounces, so I'd skip the Gerber. The Nextool Mini Flagship is the best replacement I've found for the Leatherman Squirt PS4. It is a sharp knife, file with flathead screwdriver, Phillips driver, combination can bottle opener, and a really unique design that has a large set of scissors that cut through paracord like butter, and on the other side, a small set of pliers, all in a compact 80 gram or 2.8 ounce package for around $30. It seems pretty well made, but I do find the handles dig in when I'm applying pressure. It's bigger and heavier than the Squirt, so it's a bit much for my ultra lightweight tool quest, but it's miles better than the Micra or Dime. So if you're looking for a tool with scissors and pliers, this is the one to get. I picked up the Ruike S31 because it has a clean design, is only $24 and 52 grams. I went for the more expensive black G10 scale version at $34, and it has a nice sharp blade. The scissors work pretty well, but they tend to fold over when you're working with them, and that's pretty annoying. The combo tool with driver, package opener, and bottle opener works well too. It doesn't have tweezers or a Phillips, and is still heavy enough that you feel it in your pocket, so I wanted to go lighter if I could. The Nextool keychain tool is a lighter option with knife, scissors, and nail file with flathead screwdriver in a 27 gram or sub 1 ounce package for only $14. It's good quality with really nice anodized red scales, but lacks a Phillips driver and scale tool like tweezers. The scissors are fine for paper, but can't handle tougher tasks like paracord. The obvious choice for a keychain tool is Victorinox because they're known for packing a ton of utility into a lightweight tool. I love my Bantam Alox because it has a pretty big blade and combo tool with bottle opener and flathead in a sleek package that only weighs 29 grams and costs $25. But this lacks scissors and a Phillips driver. And if you get the Alox version like I have, you also don't get tweezers or a toothpick. The Compact is everyone's favorite EDC pick because it essentially adds scissors to the Bantam, but at 2.2 ounces and $65, it's a little over budget and still can't handle Phillips screws well. It's a good option, but I don't see everyone willing to carry a larger 91mm tool like this. Up until now, I'd pretty much ignored Victorinox's smaller 58mm line of keychain multi-tools because, honestly, I thought they weren't enough to bother with. We're all familiar with the most popular pocket knife of all time, the Classic SD, with its small pen blade, scissors, and nail file in a super thin package that includes a toothpick and tweezers. It weighs a featherlight 21 grams or 2/3 of an ounce with the Celador scales. It's also super affordable at $24 and comes in a ton of colors and finishes, including Alox and wood options. Compared to the Nextool, the Classic SD is lighter and gives you scale tools. The Classic is super compact and light, but it always annoyed me that the keychain lanyard was on the same side as the blade because your keys get in the way. And it just didn't feel like quite enough tool to cover my bases. The Rambler is the missing piece of the puzzle for me. It has the same tools as the Classic SD, but adds a really impressive combo tool that has a 3D Phillips with bottle opener and wire stripper. It also moves the keychain lanyard to the other side, away from the blade, so it doesn't get in the way. These are $35 in Celador scales, but I picked up one in a cool transparent green color off eBay and started using it as my everyday carry. Now that it's summer and I'm wearing shorts, I really like the lighter weight of this tool at only 30 grams or 1 ounce. For something smaller than a tube of lip balm, it's kind of the perfect mix of features and really began to change my mind about how much tool you need on you day to day. Sure, bigger is usually better with tools, but this tiny knife is razor sharp and can cut the same things my much larger Bantam can. Tape, rope, wood, cardboard all cut just as well with this tiny blade. The scissors are small, but they cut smoothly through thick paper, plastic, paracord, and even small zip ties. Victorinox definitely makes the best scissors. The inline Phillips is great for smaller screws on battery compartments, but also work fairly well on Phillips number 1 and even number 2 as long as you don't need a ton of torque. The metal on this is beefy, and there's a bottle opener and wire stripper that work pretty well too. The nail file and mini flathead screwdriver is really useful for smoothing out burrs on 3D prints and to fix up a fingernail. My one complaint is the flathead is just too narrow. It can barely turn a light cover screw, so I ended up grinding mine down a bit so it's wider and now works way better as a dedicated flathead driver. I can also use the edge of this to cut tape on boxes to avoid gumming up the blade. It has tweezers and a toothpick in the scales like bigger Swiss Army knives. I really like to have tweezers on mine in the summer because ticks are everywhere and it's a great tool to pluck them off. Overall, this has the perfect set of tools for me and is just enough to handle most of the things I run into with nothing extra. I also really like that the 2-layer design makes it very easy to find the right tool quickly. Its minimal weight and reasonable cost makes this a multi-tool I can recommend for literally everyone, even people who don't want to carry a knife or multi-tool. And if you're someone who likes to carry a larger knife, this is a perfect companion to keep on your keychain. Victorinox sells a bunch of different tools that are very similar to the Rambler, so of course I had to try a few more. The Manager has the exact same tools, but swaps out the toothpick for a slightly thicker scale that holds a retractable pressurized pen with blue ink. It has a cool sliding mechanism to lock the pen out, and you can easily replace the pen by pulling it out and sliding in a new refill. I really thought the pen would be pretty ridiculous to use on such a small tool, but if you flip out the multi-tool, it makes this incredibly comfortable to use because it rests in the crook of your hand for lots of stability. I actually prefer this to the skinny pen in the larger Compact or Cyber tool, even using the hook trick. Best of all, it adds negligible bulk and just 1 gram of weight, so this is an excellent upgrade to the Rambler. Unfortunately, they recently discontinued this model, but you can find them on eBay for around $45. I picked up this one with transparent blue scales and added a yellow zipper pull to grab it easier in my pocket, and I think it looks pretty sweet. The Midnite Manager takes this a step further by swapping out the tweezer scale for a thicker version with a white LED light that turns on when you press the logo on the scales. This retails for $65, so it's a pretty big price jump, though you can find older models with a dimmer red LED for around $25 on eBay. They don't state the brightness, but I would say it's very similar to my iPhone's flash, but with a cooler color and a bit more of a focused beam versus the very even warm light on the iPhone. My guess is it's around 10 lumens, which is plenty to light up a room when you're walking around at night, but it's not going to help you walk in the woods. It's very similar to those Keychain squeeze lights you probably had back in the day. My RovyVon A7 G4 blows this thing away in terms of output and runtime, but it's actually bigger than the entire Midnite Manager and costs almost as much. So is the flashlight feature worth it? It sort of depends. I found it's more convenient to pull out my Midnite Manager than my iPhone, and it only adds 2 grams of weight and minimal bulk to this tool, so that's good. For downsides, you lose the tweezers, so I keep a pair of Victorinox tweezers in a piece of shrink wrap and tuck it in my wallet, so that's not that big a deal. The electronics inside mean you really shouldn't get your knife wet, so you need to baby it a bit more. It's also not rechargeable, but you can replace the battery easily. Mine is newer, so I don't really have a good sense of runtime, but it seems to last for quite a while. If you like the idea of an all-in-one tool with a light, it's cool, but a dedicated flashlight like the RovyVon A8 or A7 is a huge step up in output and is USB-C rechargeable. There's a few other 58mm models you should know about. If you want a TSA-friendly option without a blade, Victorinox offers the Jetsetter for $24 that drops the knife and nail file layer, so all you have is the Phillips combo tool and scissors. In my opinion, it's so stripped back, it's not very compelling. For maximalists, there's the Mini Champ. That's like a Rambler with a bunch of extra tools that I'd never use, like cuticle pusher, ruler, and orange peeler, but I do like that it comes in an Alox option. I love the idea of an Alox Rambler for a thinner tool that doesn't get scuffed up by your keys, but unfortunately, it doesn't exist. Or does it? I found a custom Alox Rambler that somebody had built on eBay that's super clean looking and 5 grams lighter than the regular Rambler at only 25 grams. Now on tools this size, you really can't feel the size or weight difference on any of them in your pocket, but dang, this is a nice looking knife. I've been carrying various 58mm Swiss Army knives as my EDC for the last few months, and I love how you can't feel them at all in your pocket, but still give you just enough tools to tackle most tasks. The knife is definitely pretty tiny in these things, and I kind of got obsessed with the idea of making a custom Swiss Army knife that had a better blade. I eventually found custom sack mods on Etsy. Chris is a modder that does amazing work on 58mm Swiss Army knives, and he put together this little guy based on my specifications. It's basically a Rambler tool set with the addition of a Spyderco Ladybug blade and some extra tools with dark acid etch finish and red Alox scales. The bigger Spyderco blade makes it super fast to open and feels awesome when breaking down a box or cutting bigger stuff. It's a mighty little blade. The combo tool with Phillips sits next to the Spyderco blade. Chris took the ruler from the Mini Champ and machined it into a wood saw that works surprisingly well. At the tip is a small flathead driver. Both the blade and saw open away from the carabiner, so it's not in the way when working. On the backside, there's a nail file tool from a Mini Champ with the tip ground down, so now it's a nice, beefy flathead. Next is a scissors layer, followed by the orange peeler from the Mini Champ that actually works well as a package opener, especially for clamshell cases. Lastly, there's the original knife that I use as a backup blade. The Alox scales have been machined out, so I still have 2 slots, which is pretty amazing. He had to add extra liners to build out the depth a bit, but I love that I don't have to compromise. I get Alox and scale tools. I have the tweezers on this side, and in the other slot, I have a custom version of my 3D printed tray that holds the Leatherman Micra Phillips and flathead driver. The slots in this are tighter than normal, so I had to make a custom version to squeeze this tool in, but it's really come in handy for tightening glasses screws, pressing tiny reset buttons, and poking holes. There's even a small hole in the end to give you extra torque and act as a T-handle. I'll be selling these on Etsy soon in a range of colors, so check the link in the description if you're interested. The Victorinox 58mm tools are so small that they literally disappear in your pocket. That's a good thing, but it can be hard to fish it out, especially if you carry a tube of lip balm and a flashlight like I do, because you have 3 things that are the same size and shape. I picked up this suspension clip and it makes it much faster to grab my Rambler or Manager out of my pocket. I've never liked clips on larger knives because it would always get in the way of me putting my hand in my pocket, but that's not a problem with this. I find that things tend to fall out of my shorts all the time, so a clip like this is good insurance. So in the end, I think the best option for people that want a super minimal tool that covers all the bases is the Victorinox Rambler, because it only weighs 30 grams or 1 ounce and costs $35, so it easily hits our goals. The pen in the Manager is a good upgrade for $10 to $20 more, but it's discontinued, so grab one on eBay before prices get too high. The Midnite Manager is cool if you want the novelty of a pen and flashlight in a tiny tool, but it's expensive at $65 and the light isn't nearly as good as a dedicated flashlight, but I still kind of like it. And if you want something larger with scissors and pliers, the Nextool Mini Flagship is definitely worth looking at. Alright, I need to wrap this up or I'll go broke buying tiny multi-tools. I hope you had as much fun as I did falling down the wormhole of ultralight keychain tools. If you don't carry a pocket knife or multi-tool now, maybe this will inspire you to give it a try. Let me know what your favorite keychain multi-tools are down in the comments. Alright everyone, till next time.